Thanks, Gretchen. I appreciate it. And thanks all of you for joining us today. We're thrilled you can be here. Before we get started, let me tell you just a little bit about me. I spent a big part of my career working for a little company you may be familiar with called AT&T in marketing and sales on the B2B side. My last 5 years there, I was the Senior Vice President of Operations in Toronto, responsible for launching the AT&T Canada brand. So we had a new brand, new advertising, new sales platforms, and new partners. It really was like launching a startup in another country, just in another country. The learnings were great and really invaluable, and I took that experience with me and formed my own consulting company, helping startups and smaller companies in and around the tech sector grow their businesses. And a few years ago, I happened to run into a company called Frontline Selling. They had a really impressive technology and methodology to help salespeople get more appointments with first decision makers so they could sell more. And being able to impact that kind of growth for companies is something I'm really passionate about, and I couldn't resist. I joined the company in 2012 as the Chief Marketing Officer, and honestly, it's been that sort of perfect fit for me. In my role here, my colleagues and I often have an opportunity to talk with sales leaders looking for the answers to some pretty important questions. Things like, how can I help my team sell way more than they do today? How do we increase revenue? How in heaven's name do we get more leads? How do we reach the decision makers? Who are they? And how can we help our prospects really understand the value of our products and services? And those are some pretty big questions, and there's a number of other ones they ask. And I remember as a salesperson looking out at that annual quota, which of course is always higher than the year before, and wondering how we could ever stretch to that far. If this was a typical year for you, you probably finished your sales kickoff complete with really big goals and lots of enthusiasm, and you suddenly look around and realize you're already behind the 8 ball. You're 2 months into Q2, and Q2 is just right around the corner. It happens so fast. So maybe today we can help you close any Q1 gap you may have and make your numbers. And I'm going to share 4 keys that you can use this year to grow your revenue. The first is, it's not about your features and benefits. Now, I know that may be a hard one to get your head around, but stick with me on this. The second one, you don't need more leads. And yes, you heard me say that correctly. And it'll make more sense in a little while, but you don't. Thirdly, the power of referrals. Boy, this is a big one, and it can be a big contributing factor to results in 2015. And finally, the art and science of no. All right, I know that's just kind of plain confusing, but I promise as we go forward today, it'll make a whole lot more sense to you. So let's sort of tackle each one of those. First, it's really not about features and benefits. Now look, I know your salespeople learn all about the company through you, through their team members. I'm sure they go through internal training. And all of that is critical. It's really important. But that information generally focuses on the features and benefits of your products and services. It talks about what your company can provide, what you can do, rather than what all that means to your customer. Now, I know you're excited about your company, and I want you to be. And I know you love the products and services you offer, but frankly, so what? If the value doesn't resonate with your prospective customer, it just doesn't matter how wonderful it is. So let me give you an example. We'll keep any names out of this, but do you think you might see something like this on a website or hear it in a sales pitch? And I'll kind of deliver it to you. We are the leading provider of integrated cloud-based energy management systems, enabling your company to implement state-of-the-art solutions. We deliver a proven portfolio customized to meet your specific business requirements. Sounds pretty good. It's impressive. The trouble is, it's one of those things that we do. Think about what we're saying. We're talking about what the company does. The company does this. The company can do that. To be honest, your prospect has no idea what this means to their business, or if this is a solution to the serious problems that they're facing. Now, let's come at this from a completely different angle. And this is really important. What if your salespeople could really understand the customer's problem and what your products or services could mean to them? What if your sales reps always asked the following questions, really listened to the answers, and didn't move forward until they really understood what the prospect was saying? The first one, what is the biggest challenge you face today? The second, what is the impact to you of not solving this problem? And the last one, what is the impact to your company? 3 powerful little questions, and I promise you they can change everything. When your sales rep fully understands the answers to these questions, they can then frame the dialogue completely from the prospect's perspective. Remember, it's really not about your features and benefits. Now let's take that same pitch we used a minute ago, and I'll deliver it very, very differently. Absolutely with the customer's needs in mind. And it might sound something like this. Jack, from what you just shared with me, it sounds like it's imperative that you find a solution designed to reduce your overall energy costs. What if you could reduce costs immediately by 23%? What would that mean to your business? It's real, it's genuine, it's authentic language based on the prospect's answers to those questions we just asked. The quality and meaning of the ensuing dialogue will change everything. If I was on the other end of this conversation, I would say, finally, this sales guy or gal really understands what I'm facing. They listen to my issues. They actually understand what I'm facing, and I trust that they are really genuinely interested in helping me find a solution. The ability to do that, to step back and look through the customer's lens, has a dramatic impact on the quality of the customer relationship and trust your reps can build, and ultimately on the results they'll produce. Just 3 powerful questions can change everything. Now let's talk about the second point. You don't need more leads. I know. It sounds really counterintuitive, but stay with me on this. We're going to spend a little extra time here because prospecting for new business and knowing how to do it effectively can mean the difference between success and failure. If you've ever lamented, like so many others before you, that your sales team just doesn't have enough leads, it's a good time to stop and ask yourself some key questions before you go running down more leads boulevard. Now stay with me on this because I've seen the wrong things happen way too often. In fact, the following questions may just be the catalyst you need to evaluate your own current prospecting approach. And frankly, I hope it is. I've got to tell you, Without a proven, predictable prospecting process, you're going to be missing way too many opportunities to tell your story to the right people. People who are genuinely interested in your products and services, and people who have the budget and the authority to make decisions. Those are the people you want to be talking to. Now, here's a list of questions that I recommend you ask about the prospecting environment your reps face every day. Now be careful. The answers to each of these may surprise you, and I'm just going to walk you through them quickly. Are there current leads with decision makers they need to reach? If not, do they know how to find the right people? Or are they wasting valuable time talking to or trying to reach people who don't have the budget or the authority to make or influence a sale? If they do find the right decision maker, do they know what to say? Do they know how to say it? Do they do it the same way every time? Are the messages that they're using consistent across your team? What if they aren't? Do you know? And if you don't know, or they're not the same, how would you ever determine what works and what doesn't work? And there's a few more here I want to share. How often do they try to reach out to a decision maker? Are they calling around within the company, talking to admins and other senior players to reach the right person? They should be. Are they always leaving messages through voicemail and email? Always? How often do they do that? How many times do they try? How would you know exactly what they're doing? Are they asking for referrals? And are they leveraging that referral information or any other intelligence they may gather as they try to reach those key players? And lastly, are they able to set up 20 to 30-minute appointments on specific days and specific times to really have a meaningful conversation with decision makers? You know, as I mentioned earlier, we help salespeople get appointments with the right decision makers so they can sell more. And as part of our work, we often provide best practice training, and we get to observe sort of the before and after results. We were recently working with a client who sells rather complex, high-tech solutions. Now, beyond a doubt, their salespeople need to reach and speak with CIOs and CTOs, the people who have the 6- and 7-figure budgets and the decision-making authority to go with them. As I observed this one sales rep who was already about 45 minutes into a call, I realized he was talking to a manager of IT with a manager level budget, not the senior level decision maker who could really affect a sale. What a terrible waste of time, energy, and effort, all to no avail. And you might say, well, why does this happen? Well, the truth is, salespeople are much more comfortable calling at lower levels. It seems less threatening, it's easier, but the truth is, you know it's not productive. But you can help them get comfortable calling the CEOs, the CTOs, the CIOs. You can help them succeed by making sure they know what to say and how to say it. You know, I often have people ask me, why in the heck would you call the CEO? And we do recommend starting at the top and calling above and around the person you're trying to reach. And so people often say, well, why would you call that CEO? And my answer is, think about it like this. You know you have great products and services that are going to help this company save money and grow their business. Why wouldn't the CEO be interested in what you have to say? Now, it's true, they may not have time to talk with you, but they sure know who else in the company should care about it. They absolutely know who to refer you to. And when you can say you were referred by the CEO, frankly, we all know this, people usually pay attention. So let's come back to those leads for just a minute. If you think about it, more leads with the wrong people just really doesn't sound like a formula for success. For most people, the prospecting struggle really is about finding the right people and then getting their time and attention. Think about this for your business. What if you could get more appointments with the right decision makers? Would it have a positive impact on your results? I'm going to take a real leap of faith here and guess that you said yes. So it's really not just about more leads then, is it? It's about getting more meaningful discussions with the right people. But how do you make that happen? How can you dramatically improve the results that you have today? Well, I would encourage you, honestly, to begin by asking yourself those questions we talked about a little bit earlier. And I'll send you all just a copy of them. I think you'll begin very quickly to see that the truth is that you need to implement a proven process throughout your organization. You need one with metrics as well to measure both the quality and the quantity of what you're doing. What do you measure today? The number of calls, the talk time, the number of connects? How do you know if those are the right things to measure? Is your team following the same process? Using the same messaging? How do you know? You know, it's after 15 years for frontline selling, after 15 years and the evaluation of well over 1.8 million prospecting repetitions, we've learned a lot about what works and why, and what it could mean to your success. And if you'd like to learn more about our work, if you want to learn how to double or triple the amount of appointments you're getting with the right people, we can sure help you with that. It's what we do every single day, and to be honest, nobody does it better. Nobody. Now on to our third point, the power of referrals. Frankly, referrals are priceless, and your sales team knows how valuable they are. Unfortunately, whether they're prospecting within a company or talking with current clients, most don't make it a habit to actively ask for referrals. Now, some are unsure how to ask. Some don't want to look desperate for business. Some just, frankly, don't even think about it. When they're prospecting within a company, it can be as easy as, in addition to Mr. CIO, we also speak with the VP of the data center. Would that be Mary Smith? And when they're talking with a current client, they might say, hey, Matt, I know how much our products and services have meant to your business. When you think about your other colleagues in other businesses, who do you think could benefit just as you have? You need to really encourage your team to consistently ask for referrals at each and every opportunity. And that includes friends, business associates, and vendors as well. And look for ways that you can incent that kind of mindset. You know, I think of it this way, that every referral is like a sale that's just ready to happen. Truth is, we all like to buy from people we know and trust, and referrals lay the groundwork for that. And finally, let's take a look at the art and science of no. Yeah, I know, this is the one that was a bit confusing at first. You know, all too often, we've got a sales rep and they leave a very positive presentation or demo without setting specific agreements for next steps of who, what, where, when, along with a promised and delivered email to confirm that agreement with all parties. Or the sales rep sends a well-intentioned proposal to an interested prospect and then hopes the prospective client will call back. In both cases, when there's no response from the prospects, the sales reps assume there isn't any interest. They don't make a follow-up call, and a potential sale is lost. Now, it is true that no means no, and you need to respect that. No answer, on the other hand, may mean that your prospect has questions or hasn't been able to speak with other decision makers yet, or is just busy with the next pressing issue. And trust me, we all know there's always a next pressing issue. I always say, it's like business at the speed of life. And it's never really going to slow down enough for you to catch up. We can all go through our day meaning to return a call and never get around to it. That doesn't mean we aren't interested. If your salespeople get a no, then they should stop. Otherwise, continue the prospecting efforts. The passing of time and lack of follow-up are deal killers. If your reps aren't being proactive, you're losing sales. Now, in conclusion, and we don't have a lot of time left, but in conclusion, I just want to do a brief recap for you. It's not about your features and benefits. And of course, I'm not saying they're not important. But when we talk about these things through the customer's eyes and understand what it means to the customer, the more effective that dialogue's going to be, the more trust we build, the greater the relationship, and consequently, the greater results. I guarantee you that's true. You don't need more leads. We spend some extra time here because this area can have such a significant impact on your success. It's perhaps one of the biggest and often overlooked levers in business today. I'm not sure why, but the answers to those questions I posed earlier can really help you peel back the onion and understand what's really taking place today with your team. The power of referrals. I think we know how critical it is to ask referrals. Frankly, they're golden, and I'm not sure why we so often fail to take action. Make it a key component. Cast a really big referral net and ask at every single opportunity. And finally, the art and science of no. This is really one of those small changes you can make instantly that'll have a significant impact. It certainly sounds simple, but it really is a big mindset and behavior change. The good news is it's not difficult. Think about it this way. You've already invested time. You have products and services that can genuinely help your prospective customer solve a business problem. Reach out and call them back. Uncover any stumbling blocks, if there are any, and close the sale. What if you did that and it only made a difference once in 10 or 15 tries? Would it be worth your time? I'm going to guess that it would. All right, thank you. Let's maybe wrap it up. I know we're kind of pushed on time. Gretchen, do we still have time for a question?
Yes, we've actually had several questions come in today. If we don't get to your question today, we will follow up with you on email or a phone call. One question that came in, Sherry, what do you think is the most important thing I can do tomorrow to improve my team's results?
Well, that's a good question, and obviously in the things we talked about, there certainly are things in all areas that my recommendation is that you do implement and you do as quickly as you can. But Gretchen, could you go to slide 20 for us? And we just kind of talked about this, but if you can get your team to make it an absolute ritual to always follow up, always call back, and never, ever, ever assume that you know what your prospect is thinking, you'll unlock doors you honestly just didn't know were there. So that one, it takes a little, it takes a little enthusiasm to get with it, and sometimes it can be a little scary, but it's a really important one. And to tell you the truth, I want to just add one more thing to it, Gretchen, if I can, and we got a couple minutes left. Do you mind switching to, I think it's slide 8? Now, using these 3 questions, I'm sorry.
Getting there.
You got slide 8 there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
It is coming.
If using these 3 questions, well, honestly, it does take some practice. But the rewards are really significant. Just remember, it has to be real. Don't race through these questions. Your reps really need to take their time. Your prospect honestly needs to believe in this conversation. your sales reps really need to understand also what's being said. They can't just assume that they got it. I would recommend that they repeat what they think they heard, just to be sure. For example, they might say, I want to make sure I understand. It sounds like you're saying the real challenge is blah, blah, blah. If they're not right on the mark, their prospect will easily correct them. And that's a good thing. And it means they're coming closer together to really understand what's going on. My recommendation is do some role play as a team, practice the approach. Now, you may not want to implement it tomorrow, but there's certainly no reason not to be up and running with this idea in, I don't know, 3 or 4 days. And listen, I want to be respectful of our time, and I realize that's almost up. I want to thank all of you for spending time with us today. We'll send everyone a quick copy of the questions that we discussed earlier. And if you'd like to continue the discussion about doubling or tripling your way and your ability to get more conversations with the right people, or if you'd like to talk more about anything we covered today, we'd absolutely love to hear from you. You can reach me on my cell phone, and it's 815-342-2000. You can reach Mike Shear, our CEO, on his cell phone, and that's 770-262-3009. And our main sales line is 877-726-7871. And yes, you really can, Mike. Call Mike. He loves to talk about this stuff. I really enjoyed spending time with you today. Thank you so much for your interest and engagement. Have a great day.